All right, so what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, man. It's your boy, and we're back in the 5.4 beta. The one you guys been waiting on is finally here, man. We're going to be taking our first look at Cyclops in his Phoenix 5 uniform. Now, I see a lot of talk going around saying this uniform is bad. I've seen some people saying it's good. Some saying they're not going to buy it because they don't think it's worth it. So I'm going to be giving you guys my opinion, but keep in mind that this is not going to be the final product. This is just a beta, so what you see can change when the update goes live, presumably in a few days. So keep that in mind, boys. But that being said, man, let's jump right into it. So I beefed up my boy Scotty because, as you know, he's my guy. I've been looking forward to him getting a uniform for a long time, one that really does the character justice. So first thing I did after I got the beta, man, I started putting some work into Scotty, and I have him right now like decked out to the T. You know what I'm saying? Damn near the maximum he could ever be, whether it's the live build or the beta. You know what I'm saying? 335 is a pretty solid growth score. This on the live server would get you in the top 150 easily, because for characters that are very popular, I think the highest it goes is like 368, 370. So yeah, what you're looking at is a very well-built Cyclops. Still have a few stats that we need to max out, but overall, he's in a good place. You know what I'm saying? 6-star Urus, Odin's Blessings, all gears amplified, skills 6, you know what I'm saying? Fully awakened, ISOs, even a CTP of rage on the guy. Tried him with energy. He's very good. So for those of you guys who don't have energy, you can use rage. And if you don't have rage, you can use energy. He's very good, right? But most of you guys wanted to see him with rage, so I decided to swap out the energy I had on him previously, and we're going to do some rage gameplay with him. Even got the uniform to Mythic, right? Yeah, I went all in, man. So I'm going to show y'all all of the uniform options. First up, we got Loki, Ragnarok. Then we got Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man, right? Then we got X-23. Then we have Emma Frost, Marvel Now. Kind of sucks since Emma Frost is getting a uniform. It would have been nice to see the new one in here instead of the old one. But I know many of you guys are probably not going to buy the new one if it doesn't get changed. So that might actually not be the worst thing in the world. And the final one is Gwendolyn Stacy. This uniform is pure garbage. So I'm kind of salty that it is right here, but at least I own it, and I think it's a 750 uniform. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, with the drop of this update, they sell it for gold. You know what I'm saying? Because it's pure garbage. Anyways, man, so that's how we got Scotty looking right now. The boy's pretty beefy, but overall, is this uniform worth it? Is it worth the money if what we get is this? If this ends up being the final product and it goes live, is it worth it compared to the ones that he had before? In my opinion, definitely. Is it perfect? No. Are there things I would like to see changed? Definitely. And I'm going to speak on them in this video. Nobody can tell me that this is a terrible uniform, but I'm not going to say it's a must buy. I would like to see a few things change. But ultimately, it's up to you. When you see a uniform come to this game for a character, or even, not even then, when a uniform is basically guaranteed for a character, what's the first thing that comes to your mind before you even see the uniform? Just when it's a thought in your head and you see like a preview, a teaser saying, yo, so-and-so is getting a uniform. What do you think about? Are you thinking about a uniform that gives the character amazing damage that can allow them to do all of the game's content? If that's what you're thinking about, then that's fine. Everybody has their own reasoning, their own expectations from a uniform and what makes it a must buy for them. For me, however, there's a few things that genuinely have to get checked off when I see a character getting a new uniform. And that's what I'm going to go over to you guys. And ultimately, it's going to be up to you guys to decide if this thing is worth it to you. So first and foremost, right, when I see a character getting a new uniform, the first thing I think about is how the uniform looks. Because in Marvel Future Flight, we have some very beautiful uniforms, right? The purpose of a uniform in Marvel Future Flight, in my eyes, is very simple. It is to do three things. Firstly, it is to give us a badass looking version of the heroes and villains that we know and love from the comics or the movies. If it's coming from a movie, I expect it to look very close to what it looked like in the movie, right? And generally, that is a very easy box for Netmarble to check. They almost never disappoint when it comes to the visuals, right? In all my years of playing this game, visually speaking, there's only ever been one uniform of the 218 uniforms that we will have at the drop of this next update. There's only ever been one uniform that didn't appeal to me visually. And if you've been following me on this channel, following my journey of being a scrub, you already know which uniform it is. It is Rogue's Age of Apocalypse uniform. I think that uniform is very ugly, and honestly, it doesn't do anything for the character, so I think that uniform is garbage. However, for them to miss one time when they have 218 uniforms in the game, right, at the drop of this update, that's a very good track record. That's a very good track record, visually speaking, right? So when it comes to visuals, I'm always impressed by Netmarble, and Scott's uniform is no different. Visually speaking, this thing is absolutely amazing, right? From the colors, you know what I'm saying, the fire on him. And if you turn him to the side and look closely at the visor, you'll notice that this thing looks like the beak of a phoenix. So they did such a great job when it comes to the uniform. Oh my goodness, this thing is stellar, right? However, aesthetics does not win you fights in Marvel Future Fight. Skills do. Skills are what really matters, which leads me to my second point, right? In addition to aesthetics, a uniform is to minimize the original weaknesses of a character. And in this area, Netmarble generally struggles. However, in the case of Cyclops, I think they did a decent job, because originally Cyclops was a character that really struggled to find the balance. So they really struggled to find the balance between good damage and survivability. They gave him two uniforms and they missed the mark with both of these. It just basically made him a leadership and a better support, right? However, with this uniform, they did a decent job, right? This uniform finally addressed some of the issues that Cyclops had, right? They upgraded his second skill by giving him an iframe with a guard, which is very useful. And also by turning his fifth skill, a very boring fifth skill, a good fifth skill for Shadowland, but not much else. A boring fifth skill, and they turned it into one of the coolest fifth skills in the game. This thing looks, oh my goodness. It makes me feel like a badass just watching him. It's not even me, and I feel like a badass just watching him, right? So his fifth skill, in my opinion, one of the coolest looking skills in the game, and it finally does decent damage, and it has a heal. My only issue with this skill is that the damage, I personally think it needs to be a wee bit stronger, because the damage on the new fifth skill, right, is only slightly stronger than the damage on the new third skill, right? Now, this leads me to my third and final point. A uniform is generally supposed to make what is already a great attribute of that character even better. And this is yet another area where Netmarble struggles. And in this case, they got it half right and half wrong. And case in point being the 4-star passive, right? Originally, without a uniform, Cyclops only had 10%. 10% energy attack buff as his 4-star passive. And then with his other two uniforms, they bumped it up to 15%. With this one, they doubled it to 30%. That's really good. That's a good way to take what's already great about the character and make it even better. That is a very significant change. 30% is nothing to joke about. However, what is not very good is to remove a core piece of the character's base kit, and in what, like personally, in my opinion, sorry, I'm going on a rant here. I know you guys came to see gameplay. Bear with me, right? Bear with me, boys. Okay, so what is not good, honestly, is to remove a core piece of the character's base kit. Oh my goodness, Netmarble, why would you do this? This was one of the few things that made Cyclops stand out to many people in this game. And what I'm talking about is the iframe ignore that was originally on his third skill that they removed basically for no reason at all, right? For no reason at all. And I understand that this skill is now a long iframe with more damage than it's ever had. However, if you take a close look at the cooldown time, right, they basically doubled it. If you go ahead and take a look at the classic, right? Okay, classic, third skill, yeah, 9 seconds. With the uniform, right, more damage than he's ever seen, right? But, yeah, basically doubled it. 1 second less than doubling it. And I understand why they had to increase the cooldown time, personally, right? And I know some of you guys, now that you probably noticed it, you're going to be upset too. However, they had to double it, not double it, but they had to increase it just because of the fact that it's a longer iframe and they didn't want to make it so that people could spam that skill over and over and over again, because the skill itself lasts for about 3, maybe 4 seconds. So if they had kept the original cooldown time, you could literally just go into PvP. That skill is an iframe. You chain it together back to back to back to back, and enemies, if they don't have iframe ignore, they could never hit you. I understand the logic behind increasing the cooldown time. What I don't understand is increasing the cooldown time and removing the ignore iframe, right? And not even just removing the ignore iframe, removing it from one skill and putting it on another skill, that's great. But removing it from his entire skill set, that does not make sense to me. I could definitely understand removing it from the third skill because maybe their rationale, their train of thought is we don't want to create another situation like we have with Captain Marvel, a character that can go into an iframe and ignore your iframe and basically just one-shot you in PvP. And if they had kept the cooldown time on this skill as low as it was originally and kept the iframe ignore there, we would have probably be looking at something like that. So I definitely understand what their thought process could be if they're like, okay, iframe ignore on a long iframe kind of seems like what we already have with Captain Marvel. Might be too OP, might be too broken. Fine. But do not remove a core piece of the character's base kit. Instead, put it on another skill, maybe another skill that's not an iframe. And personally, I think the perfect skill to put it on would be the 5th skill, because this skill, like I said earlier, it's better than it's ever been, right? But it still feels like it's missing something. And honestly, just by looking at this skill, it just really radiates iframe ignore, right? The way how Scott is walking, right? And he's just blasting everybody in every single direction. He's walking with such confidence. It just screams to me, I've already seen your weak spot. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, I'm gonna blast you. There is no escape. That's what I see when I look at the animation for this new 5th skill, right? Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but that just kind of screams iframe ignore. So personally, I do not agree with taking a core piece of the character's base kit away from them when you're giving them a uniform that is supposed to upgrade them, right? An upgrade means we keep most, if not all of what we already have and add on to that, right? I don't understand why we would take away literally the strongest thing in Cyclops is kit that he has for himself, not this, right? The leadership is good, but that's mainly to help other people. This mainly to help other people, right? This is for him, right? So taking away one of the only things that he has for himself away from him, I do not agree with that. I'm sorry this turned into a bit of a rant type video, but I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from, okay? It's been a bit lengthy already, man, but that being said, boys, man, let's jump into a little bit of gameplay before I send you guys on your way, because I know some of you guys are going to cuss me out in the comment section today. I can already feel it. But please, guys, bear with me. You guys already know, if you follow me, if you know what I'm saying, if you're a member of the Scrub Nation, you know what it is, man. Like when I'm passionate about a character, right, I really want to see them like shine in the game. And I feel like he's definitely going to shine at tier 3, but at tier 2, his damage is probably not going to be as good as I'm going to showcase to you guys. And I'm going to test him out once I get him. right? Well, once I get the uniform, once the server goes live. And if they're taking away the iframe ignore from him, he's going to lose even more value, right? So that kind of sucks, man. We're going to jump in here, stage 19 Thanos, and see how the boy does. Now, we're going to have to try our best not to be guard broken too many times here, because we don't have super armor or immunity to guard break. All right. Nice. Woo. Well, I thought I got through the whole thing without being guard broken. No such luck, fellas. No such luck. But yeah, I don't know what possessed these guys to like remove the bloody iframe ignore. And you guys will notice that he does pretty respectable damage. And the tier 3 is nasty. We're going to try and get a proc here. You'll see for yourself, like the tier 3 does disgusting damage. However, the tier 3 is not a selling point for the uniform. Okay, the tier 3, understand something, Netmarble. When you're building these characters, if you're testing them, please test, like before we get a chance to test them, please test them before you tier 3 them. Because understand what I'm saying to you. A tier 3 being very powerful is very good, but the tier 3 is a selling point for the tier 3. And what I mean by that is it's telling us as a player, right, that once you invest all the books and everything else that you need to into this character, they become worthwhile if they weren't before. And if they were strong, they become better. That is very, very good. It means you spend all those materials, the CCF, the Titan component packs, you know what I'm saying? All of that, it equates to something once you build them up. However, right, that's not a selling point for the uniform. The uniform absolutely has to be stellar without the tier 3, unless, right, they're getting the Iron Man treatment. They're getting the Tony 3000 treatment where their tier 3 is being altered by the uniform. Let's see what you're going to do here. Okay, let's blitz him with this, kind of wasted the rage proc, but I was trying to make sure that we didn't, let's get that heal. Okay, what are you going to do, big guy? Nice. Like, you can see for yourself, he's strong. Nobody can tell me he's weak, but I don't agree with removing a core piece of the character's base kit. The uniform is good. It's definitely the biggest upgrade Scott has ever seen. But considering how powerful he eventually became, right, in this comic run, I think they could have done better. Or at the very least, they could have kept him with one of the greatest assets he had to himself, right, previously. That's all I'm saying. Now, I'm going to try and see if we can trigger the proc early here. No, still no rage proc. That kind of sucked. I wanted to... Okay, we got the rage proc. Let's go. Also, if you guys are wondering why my animation looks different from everybody else who's been making videos on them, is because I turned off SFX. Especially when you're going up against Thanos, you want to always be aware of what he's going to do. Because if he hits you with that Mad Titan super punch, then, you know what I'm saying, like, you're just done so. I think Scott can probably tank one of them because his HP is pretty good, right? 53,000 is actually pretty respectable, but we're not going to chance it, right? Or I risk it and regret it later, okay? It's like he's like, that walk just looks like so menacing. It just screams confidence. It screams, I know what you're going to do before you do it, and I'm going to blast you regardless, right? That is just awesome, right? So that screams iframe ignore to me, right? It also screams iframe ignore like on that big ass tier 3 of his, right? But honestly, boys, this is a good uniform. Anybody telling you that it's a bad uniform, they probably don't know what they're talking about. But is it the best that he could have possibly gotten? No. They could have given him some more buffs. They could have given him defense down. They could have given him some fire resistance down that work in World Boss. They could have given him a lot more stats, right? But the thing I'm pushing for, the thing I'm complaining about, if you want to call this complaining, right? Because that's all I do is complain mode gaming, right? Or whatever. Anyways, right? The thing I'm pushing for is for him to get back his iframe ignore. They can put it wherever they want. They can even put it on his forward skill, which honestly, still a risky skill. Still a risky skill, but the immunity lasts long enough for you to get off the 5th and then get off the 4 safely. Right, they can put it on the 4, but I'm pushing for the 5th because I think that looks really, really cool. And it just screams iframe ignore to me when he's just blasting people as he's walking in slow motion, right? It just looks like so gangster, if you feel me. Anyways, man, we go wrap it up right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of my first impressions of Scotty. If you want to see a little bit more gameplay before he goes live, you know what I'm saying? Hit me up, man. I did show y'all the uniform options already, but yeah, man. Hit me up, guys. We're going to wrap it up here. Thank y'all so much. Netmarble did a good job visually. They did a good job with the upgrade. But honestly, Netmarble, please just give us back the iframe ignore. You'll make a lot of people happy. And I promise you, like, he's still not going to be eclipsing Doctor Strange and Jean Grey. You know what I'm saying? He might become something better for PvP, but he won't take it over completely. Not happening. Ain't happening, Chief. But it is what it is. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know who you guys want to see next. We're going to do a video on Colossus real soon because my guy is basting out here, and I'm finally happy for him, man. I'm finally happy for him. You guys know I have mad love for Peter, so yeah, your boy happy. Watch out for the next video, man. I'm out. Peace.